It's time for Business Minds Coffee Chat, an inspiring show about the journey to personal and professional growth. And now, your host, Jay Shear.
Hey everybody, you are listening to Business Minds Coffee Chat, and I am your host, Jay Shear, and I am super excited today. I've got a fantastic guest with me. My guest grew up in Flagler County and has been a longtime resident of Flagler Beach. He's an interneter who does all things related to the web, from web development to digital marketing, content creation to training in SEO and AI. He has a big heart, a super cool spirit. He's a captivating storyteller, and he's someone who thrives on human connection and lifting others up. When he's not helping clients do web, you'll likely find him playing or coaching soccer, swimming, traveling, or knee-deep in conversation, helping others out. Please welcome the owner of Chenzo Does Web, Chenzo. My man, it is so great to have you here today on the show. Thank you so much for joining me.
Dude, thank you. I've said this countless times now. If there's one thing you've done for me, it's makes me feel amazing about myself, and those intros and those descriptions about me, man, are nothing less than goosebump worthy. So thank you.
It is absolutely my pleasure, and it just speaks to the impact that you make on not only my life, but many, many others as well. And it goes way beyond the actual work that you do, the web work and all the amazing things that you do. It's really about the way that you show up as a human, a good human being, and just changing people's lives. And I so much appreciate that. And I wanted to have this conversation today because I really wanted to catch up on life with you and talk about some important topics and really explore a few things that perhaps we haven't necessarily spoken about before. So I thought to kick off the conversation, to keep things maybe simple, and then we'll see where the conversation goes from here. So first, who has been the biggest role model in your life? And as you share who that individual is, tell me about their impact on you.
Well, I'm just going to shoot from the gut. I don't, for those that are listening, these aren't premeditated or pre-scripted. So I don't have, I'm going to shoot from the gut, and I'm not trying to win an Academy Award here, but as I'm adulting, and I mean no disrespect for those that have known me before I was born currently, and maybe know me after my passing, but the only entity and the only thing that's ever been constant is truly my relationship with God. And once again, the caveat to this, for those that are listening, aren't like, oh, here we go, one of these dudes. No, like legitimately, just in the last year alone, I've amplified my world travels to a magnitude that I never thought was even going to be possible. And what it's done is it's continually keeps me in a sense of fight or flight and problem solving and learning how to love on a whole new level, because I've been doing it since I was young, but to continue to do it as I become a gray-haired man, I've realized that as the world could potentially get to be a very angry place and less patient, I've noticed that what keeps me agile, what keeps me in front of the line, which keeps me peaceful under super stressful situations, not only in literal travel, but figuratively traveling, this thing called life. And for those men out there specifically that feel that weight of having to be a provider, protector, etc., no disrespect to the women's genre as well, but as men, I know that I've broken bread with a lot of, let's just call us gray-haired men. I've noticed that if you're not afraid of something, the individuals that I meet today, young or old, that aren't afraid, or like Mike Tyson said, like, it's all funny until you get punched in the face. Those, I don't seem to vibe with those people well, not because I'm better, but because I've scraped enough knees, I've been smacked enough times to make sure that I treat people very, very well. And the only reason I do that sincerely is I've been taken aside quite a bit, more recently than even not, by complete strangers, and they go, "Why are you like this?" And it's truly because I'm afraid to not do what I believe to be done, because if I don't do what I believe is supposed to happen, then I don't feel like I'm going to be able to cash in on the requests that I have to the God that I serve.
Okay,
so that's kind of like,
that's what you're most afraid of then.
Absolutely, a life without accountability. And I think that he's the word, the good old fashioned BIBLE, has probably been the most timeless and the most mentor to me, because it's been the most unconditional, love that I've ever seen. And it proves itself time and time again. So once again, not going into a long-winded situation and not trying to be like get into the scripture here, but my point is that's probably been the biggest mentor that I've had, because I've been living this rather unique lifestyle and ostracized myself in society many times. That's been the constant and a big mentor to me.
So thank you for sharing that. And when I think about you today, I really feel that you have designed your life the way that you want it to be. And it may be unconventional to some. Some may look at the way that you have designed your life and look at that as inspiration. So when you think about the way that you live today, you've traveled the world, you have incredible experiences. Obviously, you do great work. You've also figured out that you can do the work that you do, the way that, your career, the way that you earn a living, you can do that anywhere you want. You don't have to be plugged into one particular location. But in terms of the way that you live today, as compared to perhaps the way that you lived, in your early years of life, how has your mindset changed in terms of the way that you view your own life and the way you structure your time and space around you?
It's a good question, and there's a lot of good points there. I would say to correlate it into how I was asked the other day, actually, a great guy I met during some travels, and we had broke bread, and a couple of weeks had went by, and we became close acquaintances. And one of the things he had said to me, he goes, "How have you figured out this time management thing, this thing called life, where you seem to be able to have plenty of time to misbehave, but you also never seem to be behind. You've never used the word busy. You're not frantic, etc." And I said, well, little do you know what's really going on behind closed doors, but here's what I've noticed in 20 years of doing this thing called contracting, right? Because that's where I find peace and rest, is the fact that I really love what I do, but at the end of the day, there's many days I have that are just as cumbersome that anybody else may have in any industry or any type of genre that they're in. But I've always been someone that if something has to get done, just get it done. I don't know. You know me very well, Jay. You know me on a personal, you know me on a business relationship. And one thing that you'll notice is that when it comes to work, it may not be complimentary to those around me in the moment, but I get things done when I can, always have. So in the relations of like time management and business, I don't put things off that I know I can get done. And I've always been someone, which is ironic, because in my adolescent years, I never did homework. I wanted to play, then do homework, and then I was behind, and then I failed the test and begged to pass. Now, ever since I became a contractor, which was fresh out of high school, I'm the kind of guy where, for instance, just use a simple, you need a logo. I'm doing it today because it is possible. And those out there that are in the contract work of mine, well, they may say, well, I've got 30 logos to make before that one. Well, to do them all. I've always been someone that gets things done quickly, accurately, and making sure that the ball is always in the customer's perspective, which once again, from a personal perspective, that's not always complementary to your companion, maybe even your work-to-life ratio. But what it has done is that it's freed up potential work on the horizon. And number two, there's always going to be some hiccup, a third, fourth, fifth revision. And this is just the design. But any kind of contracting work, I've noticed, just get it done. And it's really kept me, at any point right now, if you were to even call me at just recreationally and go, how many projects are you working on? It's absolutely fantastic how many I have going on simultaneously, those that I'm wrapping up, those that I'm going into, those that I'm courting, etc. But the cool thing is no one's waiting for me, ever. And I think I'll close on this regarding that question, is that being that I know what my limitations are, I think is very sincere. And it correlates to my life in soccer. It correlates to my life in swimming. I don't go too crazy far by myself. My life is in jeopardy of where it is, but I know my limitations. Same thing with soccer. I just throttled down, Jay, to 2 days a week. The best, worst time of my life. Because I've used to play 3 days a week, sometimes more. I had to pray. I had to think. Thank God I'm not going into this because of injury, but I'm going into a 2 day a week sequence because I know my body needs the rest. I can feel my body saying to me, don't make me do this. Just do it by choice. So my point is, how it correlates to my work life is I say no more than I say yes, because maybe the scope of the project is not within my wheelhouse. B, as candid as this may be, but I think that's the point of these conversations, I don't want to work with everybody. Different strokes for different folks. And just like I don't want to break bread with part of my vernacular, I don't really sometimes want to service them either. And I'm, thank God, in a position where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times is about my max. You can be and I'm probably going to disappear. I don't take on everyone. So with that being said, I know my limitations are. I know how much misbehaving I want to fit into my week, my day, etc. But I also, and I appreciate your compliment you said earlier, I'm also the guy that puts away my toys and will help and service, not even for a transaction, but a relationship, which you taught me. I'm still willing to put aside my passion, my joy for the day to still help or service, whether
yes,
there's a dollar amount or not.
Yes, you do.
And I think, I appreciate that. And
that's where, Chenzo, that's where being intentional about designing your life and utilizing your time the way that, and structuring your time and energy the way that serves you and serves others the way that you want to and the way that you want to show up. And that's one of many things that I truly do appreciate about you. Now, we're going to hit pause on our conversation here because we are going to take a brief break to thank our amazing sponsors. My friends, don't you go anywhere. You're listening to Business Minds Coffee Chat, and we will be right back.
There's no business like show business like no business I know. Visit the Fitzgerald Performing Arts Center at Flagler Auditorium. We're about to release our new season of professional touring shows. Visit our website at flaglerentertainment.com. Sign up for our newsletter. You can be the first to know about our shows and special offers. And remember, every time you buy a ticket to a show, you support the performing arts in Flagler schools and you support our local economy.
This is Jay Shear. Are you a business owner or entrepreneur trying to figure out how to improve and achieve greater results? If so, I'm speaking to you. I provide the tools, coaching, and accountability you need to gain clarity around your personal and professional goals, remove the excuses holding you back, build the mindset, leadership skills, and proven strategies to grow your business and become the best version of yourself. To learn more or to apply for my coaching services, call 904-236-0431 or visit jshearbusinessconsulting.com.
Thank you so much for recommending us to your family and friends. When you need a 30, 60, or 90-minute massage, it's real easy to book your appointment online. MassageByNatalie.org. MassageByNatalie.org.
Hey, it's Jay with Thomas Media Solutions. Join us every Monday night from 6 to 8 at Tortugas in Flagler Beach for the best live entertainment around. We do several rounds of general knowledge trivia. That means it's trivia for everyone. It just doesn't get any better than this. If you're looking for the best food, the best drinks, the best people, and the best entertainment around, Tortugas is the place to be. Make sure to get there early to get a seat. See you there.
All right, we're back and again, and you are listening to Business Minds Coffee Chat, and I am in the studio today and on the line with my very special guest, Chinzo, and we've been having a good conversation. Keep that conversation going. So, Chinzo, we were talking before the break about the way that you're intentional about designing your life, and I wanted to ask you, what is something that you think people often get wrong about you?
Well, I would say I don't know, because there was a younger version of me that I'm a lot of people's Friday afternoon, right? Growing up in Florida, and then specifically with a focus on Flagler Beach, we're everybody's vacation, we're everybody's day off, we're everybody's moment of happiness when they got a day off for this. And it was a blessing / I don't like using the word curse, but it was it could be sometimes taxing when your phone rings on a Monday at noon to meet someone at, Oceanside for a cocktail because it's their day off. And because I love to play and I don't want to grow up, I would find the time. And I slowly but surely became I use the joke of like being everyone's Friday afternoon, but it could be any day. And I would find the time for those people, and it kind of correlates into something else that's been hitting hard on me right now. For those that haven't, but enjoy baseball, take a minute and look into this banana something, whatever, I forget the name, but the owner of this baseball.
Yeah, Savannah
baseball,
Bananas.
Yeah. Dude, he's all about preaching, slowing down and giving that fan like the most amazing time of their life, because he has a fan-based story. That's what gave him and cultivated his story and his business. You know me well enough, Jay, and you've heard me use a lot of witty banter and saying it, but ultimately I'm all about the chitty chat. I'm all about it. I'll talk to the guy mowing the lawn. I'll talk to the guy that owns 7,000 businesses around the world. And I think everyone's got a story. I think everything's worth listening to. I think everything's worth being thought-provoked. And it's just an amazing, diverse palette of humans that I've been able to have conversations with. And I think what is a negative connotation towards that would be I'm a lunatic at some points, where he's always out, or he's this, or he's that, or I'm assuming, because it's been a while since I've heard of that, because obviously you can judge someone by their fruits. And if I was just a flagrant lunatic, not really accomplishing much, I don't think I'd probably be on the phone call with you today. But the point is, they've probably been branded as that a little bit, like, dude, he's always out and about. He's in his shorty shorts and he's got his pajamas on, and this guy's he's wet.
Right.
He's wet, and he's a little salty, not figuratively, literally from the beach. And I don't know. I think that could probably be a negative connotation that people have thought of this guy's. He's always out, but little do they know. Once again, work to life ratio. If I choose to meet you for a cup of coffee spontaneously, because that's the time that you have, I work OT that night to make sure that, once again, when my customers wake up, the ball's in their court.
That's right. You find a way to get it all done. Absolutely. Just like you said toward the beginning of our conversation. So what is something that you once believed about yourself early in life that you discovered later wasn't true? That
I wasn't going to fail.
That you weren't going to fail. Okay.
Yeah. If I could go back, I hope those that find themselves up at the midnight hour, and it's not because you're restless, but just because you're thinking, maybe praying, and just kind of disconnecting for the day, and whatever it is that you're vegging out on. Hopefully it's not this it's not too much Love Island and you're turning your brain into mush. I tend to find myself indulging in like a lot of Alan Watts and things like that. And once again, I'm not trying to sound philosophical and change the world here. I'm just saying I don't have a fascination towards a lot of entertainment more than I do just sound bites and education. One of the things I heard recently is, what we've all heard this, what would you tell the younger version of yourself? But I heard a twist on it. And it was somebody narrating this really cool 30-second clip visually on TikTok that said, the older you should be now, would you protect the younger version of you? You know, can you imagine that younger version of you meeting, and it may be a dream or some fairy tale? Could you imagine what you would do for that version, that person? Like, oh my God, look, he has no clue what's on the horizon. If there's one thing I would tell that little person of mine is I would say, I remember when I first begged God to speak, when I was like, show me a sign, you would hope that was to be, tell me this person's going to live or die. Tell me if I'm going to live or die past maybe some unforeseen disease or something super scary. But my point is, here I was begging God at 16 years old, 17 years old to like part the Red Sea to tell me if I was going to pass high school. I mean, that's how naive I was. And I brought that same fear into my entrepreneurship, that it was never going to work, that I was an imposter syndrome. I didn't even know what that word, that title was, but I think it was part of my daily cereal. I was killing myself emotionally, that nothing was going to work. And if the younger version of me, I still feel inside of me that what am I going to do next year when nothing works? What job am I going to have to get? It's weird. And I'll close on this regarding that question. There's a bit of humbleness to it that showed that I remind myself, because of my background and living in third world countries and keeping myself borderline broke, it's taught me that I would be okay with nothing as well. So as I've increased and as I've succeeded, but you know me well enough to know that success, in my opinion, is rest, not just financial gain and maybe expanded territory. Mine is, what would you do? What a guy once told me, what you do with a little bit, you're going to do with a lot. And it's kept me very evenly keeled. But also, I can get a little wooby on there and go, well, this isn't going to work and this has all been great, but I might as well stop being so excited and smirk instead of smile, because this isn't real. So there's this balance, but I hope this is making sense, that the younger version of me, or a belief that I had upon myself that I don't believe anymore and wish I could actually even eradicate, would be fear. That I do feel at some point, everyone in their life, when you've made a decision to do the right thing when no one's looking, don't wait for someone to die. Don't wait for that paradigm shift of thought, something tragic or even something grandiose. Just stamp yourself successful, because this is it. You're doing it.
Yeah. Plus, the more you do, the more things you do, you build a track record and you show yourself that you're more capable than you ever thought you were. So when you run into those situations where you're doubting yourself, or you're having that conversation where, oh gosh, I'm not going to be able to do this, or I'm not going to have enough money for this, or I'm going to, where's my, my business is going to fail, those sorts of things, focus on what you have done, knowing that the progress you've made, the decisions you've made, the conversations you've had, the actions you've taken, all of those have led to where you are today. And take a little time to look in the rearview mirror. Don't live there, but take a little time to look and realize that you've done so much more than you ever thought possible. Now, what are you going to do with that? What's going to be the next step you're going to take? So I appreciate you sharing that with me. So what has been one of the hardest things that you've overcome?
Physical loss of losing people. Is this thing called life is very peculiar and change, and I miss a lot of people, and I don't like losing people. I think I speak for all of us. I don't like that part, and it's tough. So that would probably be I don't like it. That part I don't like.
Yeah, I understand that. What would you, so if you think about one particular person who you have lost, it's been a tough, hard loss for you. What have you learned about yourself, about life as you go through or went through that experience? Because we all process it differently, but self-reflection, I think, is important in those instances. So what is it for you?
I think it probably, for those out there that have lost people, especially when it was completely unexpected and tragic, I would say on my worst days, I sometimes think to myself, what would he do? Mm-hmm. You know, what would he do with $20 in his pocket and be off for the day? What would his itinerary look like? And for those that know who he was, it would be a lot of fun. Everything was fun. A shoebox was fun. A trip was funner. He was. I think to myself, what would he do? You know, and once again, that's nothing paramount. That we all do that a lot, and I think it's something to do, and that is to. I said this to someone the other day that seemed to be there was just a lot of grumpy pants going on. And I don't tell people what to do with their lives because I'm barely figuring out mine, but I took it upon myself to just say, I knew them well enough at this point to say, like, how much time have you spent around humans that aren't mobile, that can't move? Yeah. And they didn't spend a lot of time. And it was a rhetorical question. And when I'm at my darkest, I try to think about if this was it. If he had one more day back on this planet, what would he do? What would he say? What would he do? And I try to instill that joy, and I try to keep that childlike mentality because that's what it correlates to, is that he didn't grow up. He was successful, but he never lost that jubilee. And I would say, Jay, ultimately it would be holding on to that, because this thing called life is just weird. You know, I love those sound bites or those little videos that are quick and they zoom out of the earth and they're like, we're paying bills on this rock. And that's not what it is. It's about slowing down. And that's why I love you so much, is that you find connection, and all the beautiful things that you've said to people, not to mention the listening that you do, is unparalleled. And the shirt that you wear that says I'm listening, genius, because it's in your blood. So I would say on my darkest, I try to find that moment of, if this was my last day, what would I do? And I try to shake off that bad juju of like, oh boy, this and that, and the adulting aspect, and then this thing called Matrix weight. I try to shake that off. So I hope that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I appreciate you sharing that. And it helps me as I reflect within myself, and you know this, but my father passed away. It'll be a year ago at the end of this month. And as I reflect on that year and I reflect on the things that I learned from him and what I learned about myself and what I'm still learning about myself through him and through loss is quite remarkable. And but I appreciate you sharing from your perspective. Now, as we are wrapping up our conversation, if you had to, and we've got about a minute remaining, but if you had to distill your life's work down to just one sentence that you could leave behind, what would it say?
Treating people well and giving when you don't want to. Would probably be my secret to recipe, is that those that know me well know that I'm still the guy that stops and feeds. I'm still the guy that stops and listens. And little do they know that the majority of what is taken or given, because I've actually had a lot of people steal from me recently, and that's a story in itself. My point is, they have no idea that I may need it more than they do. And that would probably be something that a lot of people don't, I think, realize. That's not a me thing. I think that's the pure definition of agape love, right? To give without it expecting back.
Yeah.
But most importantly, the irony is that you don't have to have to give. And I think that's what probably I wouldn't mind that being the one thing people remember about me, or would be on like my make pretend tombstone.
Beautifully said.
Without having.
There you go. Beautifully said. Chenzo, I want to thank you so very much for joining us today on Business Minds Coffee Chat. Every conversation we have the opportunity to have, I'm always learning more, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you being candid and allowing the conversation to go into multiple areas, and just know how grateful I am for you, and sending you lots of love and good wishes, and look forward to our next conversation.
Likewise, brother. Great. We greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And for all of you, I want to thank you so very much for tuning into Business Minds Coffee Chat. We'll be back next Saturday morning at 8:30. And until then, keep learning and growing, and keep doing the work to reach your potential. Take care, everybody.